In the name of God, Allah, Yahweh. A new war has flared up in the name of God, Yahweh, and Allah in the Middle East and the West Bank. It once started as a quarrel between the rich people who wanted to keep the people under control. And both sides claim that their faith is better than the other. But their faith makes no difference at all because the warring parties kill with passion and commit all kinds of human rights violations on behalf of their religion and their God. This, while all religions are born from one origin, and that is the fairy tale books that are more successful than Harry Potter, namely the Bible, Talmud, Torah, Quran, and so on. Oh, maybe I never understood that the so-called God of love is not loving at all but the devil in sheep's clothing. And when I look at what is caused and perpetuated in his name, it certainly is. What God would allow his name to be so misused by his followers without getting off his cloud? What father would let his children suffer like this without doing anything? The news of the invasion by the murderous Muslim men waving guns above their heads was shocking. They were proud that they finally meant something, that they could pretend to be in charge of something, while they were still being abused just as they were before when they were nothing and lived in poverty and oppression. After all, those Muslims recently showed what that looks like, how they triumphantly rode through the city with an old woman that they captured. And how they threw young girls into the back of a truck to rape. It looked like a biblical scene according to Zechariah 14 verse 2, "For I will gather all the nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses shall be plundered, and the women shall be violated." And Israel, the injured party, has also shown its true colors with its counter-reaction. The fact that God and Allah were invented by malicious humanity is again very clear here. Muslims believe that the Quran, as the spoken word of their God, has no contradictions, while jihad in self-defense also facilitates a war of aggression to spread Islam, and attacking the enemy from the back is permitted and even obligatory. See Surah Al-Hajj 22:39, which grants permission to fight against those because Muslims have been wronged. 78 Verily, Allah has the power to help them. 79 Surely Allah has the power to grant them victory. The challenge for Israel was very significant because it meant that they would not be fighting against just a small number of Muslims, Hamas, but against the Almighty Allah, the opponent of their God with various names including Hashem, which in Hebrew the name means Adonai, which means my Lord. Because Jewish tradition considers the name of God too sacred to pronounce and does not consider itself worthy to write down his name in full, they also use YHWH, Yahweh, or also call their God the Almighty or the Eternal. So the Israelites in turn have responded to the attack of Hamas with true contempt for death and with great zeal, like their invented God Adonai, who shouts, "Love your enemies." A similarity with what Moses then did by parting the Red Sea with the help of God, so that his people could flee, and their enemies died by drowning. Yes, then the fictional story of the Bible is correct, that it is the God of Israel. Read here what the people of God, the people of Israel, were capable of. The past relates to the present. See, Numbers 31:9-11, But the children of Israel took the wives of Midian and their little ones captive, they also took away all their beasts, and all their cattle, and all their substance. And all their cities and their dwelling places, and all their fortresses, they burned with fire. And they took all the prey and all the prey of man and beast. See also Joshua 11 verses 14-15. And all the plunder of these cities, and the cattle, the children of Israel took for themselves, only they smote all the people with the edge of the sword, until they destroyed them, they left nothing left that had breath. As the Lord commanded Moses his servant, so Moses commanded Joshua, and so did Joshua, he did not diminish a word of all that the Lord had commanded Moses. See also Joshua 8 verse 24, And it came to pass, when the children of Israel had made an end of killing all the inhabitants of Ai in the field in the wilderness, wherein they had pursued them, that they all fell by the edge of the sword, until they were destroyed, and all Israel turned to Ai, and they smote them with the edge of the sword. See also Joshua 10 verse 40, And Joshua smote all the land, the hill country, and the south, and the valley, and the coasts of the waters, and all their kings, he left none left, yeah, he utterly destroyed every breath, as the Lord God of Israel had commanded. See also Joshua 11 verse 14, and all the plunder of these cities, and the cattle, the children of Israel took for themselves, only they smote all the people with the edge of the sword, until they destroyed them, they left nothing left that had breath. That the biblical God was willing to lend a hand in the slaughter and murder of people is evident from Exodus 23 verse 23, For my angel shall go before you, and shall bring you in unto the Amorites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hivites, and the Levites, and the Jebusites, and the Palestinians, and I will destroy them. See also Joshua 10 verse 11, And it happened, as they fled from the face of Israel, as they went down from Beth-horon, that the Lord cast great stones upon them from heaven, even unto Azekah, and they died. There were more who died of the hailstones than those the children of Israel killed with the sword. History shows that the state of Israel has acquired its current position in a predatory manner, and its residents have traditionally been a murderous people driven by its fictional evil god. Today the Israelites behave very hypocritically when people from among them are kidnapped, beheaded, and brutally slaughtered by their enemy. The world population that worships the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran must realize that they adore the stories of a murderous God, that the religious doctrine they daily try to exonerate is only a summary and mishmash of the history of the Israelites and several rival peoples of antiquity. It is extremely sad that people hide behind such religious fairy tales and religious murders and then just kill each other as if it is a pleasure. I think that's the most childish solution to a problem. What's wrong with reaching a peaceful decision together? Why do religious people always have to convince others of their rights through unbridled violence? This is because religious humanity is not sure of itself and suffers from brain stiffness because its fictional biblical God commands otherwise. Thus the teaching of Vishnu says, No one has the right to take the life of another or to control his life arbitrarily. But I also never want to understand the religious world, because it is barbaric, lawless, cruel, merciless, and heartless like their self-made vengeful God. Look at the bloodthirsty countries, including the Netherlands, America, Germany, and all other sympathetic powers and individuals who have clearly shown their positions with their support for Israel. They have made it clear what they are still capable of and what their ancestors were capable of, making them rich and powerful today. That's why I'd rather follow Harry Potter for peace, because I get so much support from that than from the gods of evil humanity. Unfortunately, the warring parties do not realize that war does not determine who is right and wrong, but who is left. And when people use all kinds of weapons of war, including guns, bombs, and grenades, to deprive others of their lives, because they can and because once the leaders of those two pugnacious gangs of murderers quarreled in the sandbox like toddlers, and that too in the name of an invented Allah, I'd rather follow Harry Potter. At least he still fought for peace. Thus the teaching of Vishnu says, The gods have been dead since time immemorial. Thus, all living beings also die in this one-time life. Therefore, one should find pleasure in life while one is still alive and not fear the irrevocable end. To deny the end is to deny life, and to force the end is to disrespect and despise life. Man would do well to embrace life and live in peace with all living things until nature takes its toll.